On how many plots of land did you plant that beans? How many seeds of beans did you put per hole? Then finally, what is your plant population? That's how many beans totally did you plant? This is the question True Wealth asked me on one of my videos on YouTube. You can imagine somebody asking you what's the total amount of bean seeds you planted. That's what's the plant population. That's the question I want to answer on this video today. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching me from across the world. My name is Omenuko, Emeka Moses of this channel, Omenuko Lifestyle. Welcome to my channel as I answer these questions. So, about 2 weeks ago, I posted a video, 2 ways you can plant beans. Either you make ridges or you plant on the plain ground. And it is in the comment section of that video that True Wealth asked me these 3 questions. How big is the land? What's the size of the land? Or what's the capacity of the land? Then how many seeds of beans did I plant per hole? Then what is the plant population? So these beans was planted on 3 plots of land for the area covered for that particular video in question. There were 3 plots of land, and each of those plots measures 650 square meter. So for your question about what's the size of the land, the total size of the land is therefore 650 times 3, which is 1950 square meter. That is the total size of the land. Then for your second question, True Wealth, how many seeds of beans were planted per hole? Most people plant 2 seeds per hole. So I planted 2 seeds per hole. Alright, so he now asks, what is the plant population? How do you now calculate the total number of seed you planted? And that's what we're going to do. What we will consider in order to get the plant population is the spacing between the ridges and the spacing between the plant on each ridge. In that video, if you remember, the spacing between the ridges was 80 centimeters. I measured it in tape, and I'm going to attach it to this video so that you can see it. 80 centimeters. Then between each beans, from one beans to the other, was about 25 centimeters. The measurement of the plot is in square meter, 650 square meter per plot. But our measurement is in centimeters. So we're going to convert those centimeters to meter because we want to get it in meters square, the total area covered that we planted. So 100 centimeter makes 1 meter. Everybody knows that one. Primary school rhyme. 100 centimeter make 1 meter. Meter times meter is meter square, right? So we have to be able to convert the centimeter to meter. We divide 100 by that 80, the space. What's the space between the ridges? 80. 100 divided by 80. I've done the maths already, the calculation. 100 divided by 80 is 1.25 meter. Then we divide the spacing between each plant, which is about 25 centimeters. So 100 divided by 25 is 4. So we're going to now multiply that to get a square meter. How many plants do we have per square meter? 1.25, we'll multiply it by 4. And 1.25 multiplied by 4, we have 5 plants. So in each square meter on that plot, we can identify 5 beans planted. That's what it means. So now to get the total number of plants, beans that was planted there, we multiply this meter square, which is 5 plants, times the total square meter of that land, which is 1,950 square meter. When we multiply it by 5, we get 9,750 plants. So approximately we have 9,750 plants. But of course, we know there must be some margin of error, because some ridges might have been too big, or some spacing would have left more spaces in some cases between plants or between ridges. Then of course, there are probably spaces that have not been covered by the ridges where we did not plant for whatsoever reason. So let us factor in that error and say error margin of 5%. So 5% of the total square meter area, 1,950, is 97.5 square meter, almost 100 square meter. So we did not plant in an area covering 97.5 square meter. So we subtract that from our 1,950 square meter, which is the total area covered in that plant. So we have 1,852.5 square meter. This is a more realistic area covered while planting the beans. We have removed, okay, some places we didn't plant. Let's just assume there are some edges around the edges we didn't plant and all that. Everything sums up to about 97.5 square meter. So we covered an area of, if you subtract that margin error from the 950 square meters, we have 1,852.5 square meter. That is totally what was covered. So now we're going to multiply the more realistic value of the square meter covered by the plant by the 5 plants per square meters. So what we'll now get is 9,262.5 seeds. So approximately we planted 9,262.5 seeds. But of course, that is when we're calculating it per one seed per hole. But of course, remember we planted 2 seeds per hole. So what does this tell you? We multiply 9,262.5 by 2, and that's going to give us 18,525 plants. So we actually planted 18,525 plants. So Mr. True Wealth, our total plant population from that video under consideration, the video under consideration, our total plant population is 18,525. So each and every one of you now watching this, I'm sure you can go on to go and calculate what's your plant population for what you planted. All right, I hope if you found this interesting, although maths people feel no just get patience for this video, but if you actually found it interesting, kindly like this video. Don't forget, like this video, subscribe to my channel if you have not subscribed, share my content. Gbasibe, Gbasimonatis, and finally Gbasimonatas.